This post is by you. Throw RA Oz pilot from the relationship advice subreddit. He says his wife, she's 34, is spending a lot of time with her tennis coach. I am a pilot for a major airline and have been based in Hong Kong for the past 5 years. I'm originally from Australia and met my wife, a local here, when I first met her. I immediately fell over heels for her. And long story short, we've now been married for 8 months. A couple months ago, her best friends convinced her to take up tennis lessons, and I approved. What better way to keep fit rather than sitting at home all day? Her tennis coach is a tall New Zealand fellow in his 20s who was once an English teacher. I really didn't think much of it, but the once a week tennis lessons became twice a week. And now they have suddenly become daily lessons rather than 1-hour lessons in the beginning. They now last over 3. I asked my wife if I could join her for tennis, and she told me it wouldn't be such a good idea. Any advice on how to confront her would be well appreciated. Update. Firstly, thank you all so much for the advice. It was all very supportive and mostly helpful. While plenty of you suggested I hire a private investigator, I opted to confront her directly. Instead, I asked point blank why she had been spending so much time with John, not his real name, the tennis coach. And if there's something I should know about. To my surprise, rather than a denial or apology, she got into a fit and said these exact words. How dare you question what I do with my free time? You men of Australia are toxic, and you are the ones that always cheat. Even my friend said Australian guys always cheat. I don't even know why I married you. You were never home, clearly. I understand the concept of gaslighting. So I wasn't taking her bait. I made it quite clear that I know what she was doing and that I wasn't afraid of filing for divorce. She immediately stormed out of the flat and returned an hour later, to my utter surprise. Again. She began apologizing profusely. She admitted that she felt lonely when I was on duty and found someone to confide with. She told me she didn't want to lose me and was stopped with the tennis lessons effective tomorrow. She clearly wants a second chance, even though I know how this is all going to turn out in the end. Second update. It's been almost 2 weeks since I confronted my wife about her cheating, where she rightfully admitted to it and made promises never to speak with her tennis coach again. She begged for me not to file for divorce. And given that I don't exactly have time to deal with this, told her that I'm only giving her one last chance. Any more of this rubbish. And this marriage is no longer. During my last shift, I decided to give my wife a surprise bouquet. Although I would be back in Hong Kong on Saturday, I informed my wife that I would be back on Sunday. Imagine my shock when I came home on Saturday and I saw both my wife and the tennis coach half naked in the living room. He even had one of my boxers on. I told him if he doesn't get the fuck out, I'm shoving that tennis racket down his throat. He immediately ran out, in shame covering his face. Meanwhile, my wife tried to gaslight me and scold me for being rude to the tennis coach. I immediately took my most important belongings and left. I'll be staying at a hotel for the next few days, and I am in contact with my lawyers. You know, I'm not going to harp on this guy too much, although it's disheartening to catch your wife cheating and you haven't even been married a year. He gave his wife one last chance. I like what he did. He actually set her up how he told her he was coming home a day later. Instead, he was coming home a day earlier. He saw it with his own eyes, told the AP to get out. That was funny, didn't resort to violence and left the house, and is in contact with some lawyers. That's the way you're supposed to do it. This post is by UK Trade 7021 from the R Relationships subreddit. He says new and inexperienced girlfriend hangs out often with the guy. I don't trust. I 20 started dating my first girlfriend. She's 22 about a year ago. She's always had a lot of male friends and I've always been comfortable with those friends. She recently started a new job and met a male coworker who went to the same school. We're all still living close to campus. She and him started texting nearly constantly and it became regular that she drop her conversation to respond to a text from him. He has a girlfriend of his own whom he has stated plans to marry. I've had a few interactions with him over group voice calls and he tends to make a lot of weird jabs like saying he'd win in a fight. Lots of sexual jokes. At one point, my girlfriend went on a business trip with this guy and some other coworkers and they started going on walks together, hanging out in the same room in the evenings and generally spending lots of time together. I know this because my girlfriend told me all of this freely as it was happening for a long time, perhaps due to my inexperience and not wanting to be controlling. I kept my feelings of dread to myself. But eventually I brought it up as an issue. She started crying and apologizing immediately and said she stopped hanging out with him if I wanted her to do so. Throughout our relationship, my girlfriend constantly tells me how happy I make her and I do trust her and I trust her when she says that she didn't realize how I felt. After discussing it, we agreed that she had gotten carried away with all of the attention she was receiving from her new friend and that she'd change her behavior afterwards. She started talking with him way less. But recently she has started going to his house to work remotely together with him and another one of her male coworkers around 3 days per work week. He invited my girlfriend and I on a trip with his own girlfriend and a few coworkers. My girlfriend made it clear that if I didn't want to go, we didn't have to. I agreed, but I feel anxious about it. Evidently, her friend's girlfriend is also feeling anxious about the trip. I'm wondering if she's as uncomfortable as I am with how much our significant others have been spending time near each other. But I don't think I could ask safely. Another issue is that my girlfriend has said previously that she feels a bit lonely and like she doesn't have enough friends. So I really don't want to deny her a new friendship. This guy is somewhat central to the work friend group. My girlfriend found, I am unsure how to play this and how to handle these feelings that are entirely new to me. TLDR girlfriend made a new work friend and they're closer than I feel comfortable with. I want her to keep her work friend group, but I don't know how to deal with my feelings of anxiety. Well, in my opinion, he's young. He has a lot to learn, but this might be a painful lesson for him. He needs to pay attention to the smoke signal. She let off the one signal. She said when she was feeling lonely based on my experience in relationships, that's a smoke signal. Most men will miss it and she has a lot of male friends. This does not sound